Hello, I'm Tony, and today we are destroying the Rebel Alliance, or saving the universe from the evil empire in Star Wars Squadron, free from the Epic Game Store until the 1st of December 2022. The game is set just after the Emperor was killed. The Empire is still pretty powerful, but the Rebel Alliance is now called the New Republic, and the fight for control of the galaxy is well and truly on. You have the option to play a story mode, jump into a quick 5v5 online battle, or set up a bunch of different multiplayer game options. My usual quick disclaimer here, my laptop can't handle this game too well, so for those on less powerful systems, you may struggle the same way I have. I'm putting the best quality graphics that the game can put out up at the moment. As you can see, it's a really good looking game, but you can't actually play it on my laptop at that settings. You can see how low the FPS is. Unfortunately, for the rest of the video, it's going to be on low quality. It still did have issues for me even then, enough that it did impact the experience a bit, unfortunately. For those that have a decent gaming PC, don't judge this game by the frame rate you see here. Right, I'll try and ignore those issues as best I can and talk about the gameplay. I started off with the story mode rather than jumping straight into PvP with no experience, because I didn't want to just get killed instantly. As I said, the New Republic and the Empire are fighting. It's a bit more even now with no Death Star around, it seems, and no Emperor, so there should be plenty of opportunity to get involved in an exciting plot, travelling around the universe fighting for one side or the other. Unfortunately, the developers chose to make you fight for both sides in the same story. You start with the Empire, then switch to the New Republic and go back and forth constantly. I felt this was a mistake. Each time you switch sides, it feels like you're attempting to undo any progress you just made. You're kind of fighting against yourself. All the dialogue is skippable, and not all of it's that interesting, to be honest. All of the characters you meet, you're obviously supposed to care about. I don't know how you're supposed to care about them in any way, because in the next mission, they're your enemies. It's odd, it's an odd choice. Don't know why the developers didn't just make 2 separate campaigns to play through. Maybe time constraints, budget constraints, I don't know. It didn't really work for me. During the missions, there's still a little bit of story mode. I'm putting that in like air quotes, because a lot of it's just like travel to this location or follow your leader while he talks or she talks, and it just doesn't add enough given the other issues with the story. This is a real shame because the missions are really good. You have a lot of control over your craft. You can choose your loadout, where you pick your ship's components that suit your particular style of play. You can determine the distribution of power between your engines, lasers and shields, increase the rate of fire for your lasers, etc. Determine where the power in your shields goes, to the front or the back. The targeting system is also customizable, and you have a ton of options to restrict your target pool, like all enemies, all friends or mission specific targets. You use a single button to cycle through within this pool that you've selected. You can also target whatever is in front of you with a different button, so this allows really quick switching when the mission demands it. And my experience so far is that they do. The missions have a number of objectives, some of which change or get added to during the fight. For example, in one I got a call from a colleague that a bunch of fighters were on their tail. So I stopped what I was doing and went and saved them. Heroically, obviously. I also did the classic movie trope during one fight of blasting a laser cannon to pieces, then flying through the fireball that remained. You had to be there, but believe me, it was pretty cool. It's really good fun to fly these ships, and it does a really good job of fulfilling the fantasy of that. It also reminded me a lot of the spacecraft PvP in Star Wars The Old Republic, which is a compliment because I enjoyed that. The story kind of feels like an incidental part of the game. It's there to make missions make sense. Now I could be wrong about that. I've only played a few hours and it could all come together and the story could be great, but it's not drawn me in. Okay, let's talk about multiplayer, which to me felt like it was the more important part of the game to the developers. Because it's free from Epic currently, I thought this was the time to test out to see how many people were playing. So I played on Black Friday at 7 PM UK time and 10 AM Saturday UK time. I got into a game within a minute both times. So currently it's doing really well. Recent Steam comments have described it as a dead multiplayer game, and the Steam charts that I looked at on Friday only had a high of 200 concurrent people playing, which is not a huge number obviously. I can't know how many people are going to continue playing it after the free giveaway once it becomes a paid game again, but I probably wouldn't get my hopes up of a strong multiplayer game going forward. I did have a couple of really good matches. They're not recorded because, unfortunately, recording my gameplay killed my FPS even more than it was, and it was basically unplayable. I did win 2 matches though, and you do get a decent amount of currency which is used for buying optional components for your starship. Even though I was new, I didn't get one shot. I didn't feel like I couldn't compete, which is pretty much all you really want from a PvP game. The customisations, from what I've seen, are more sort of the give and take options, like less top speed for more acceleration and things like that. So the better players, the more experienced players, shouldn't be too much further ahead than the new players. All they've done is customise their craft to suit them better. This means that there should be a decently high skill ceiling where a better player will win more often simply because they're better, not because of the things that they can do to their craft. If anyone's played this and knows differently, please do comment below. This is a really fun Star Wars spaceship fighting game. If that's what you're into and you have a decent gaming PC, you'd really be missing out if you didn't grab this. Don't expect too much from the story, just enjoy the varied and adapting missions with the great graphics and FPS that you can get, while I feel a little bit jealous and uninstall it because my laptop can't run it. With the performance proviso, this is a recommend from me. Oh, one last thing before I go, or 2. I just want to point out the clumsy install and launching palaver that goes on when you want to run this game. Epic runs the Origin launcher to install and to run it. So both run, and changing the screen resolution requires a restart, which doesn't happen because the way to launch it is incredibly inelegant. It also installs easy anti-cheat, which a lot of people, including myself, do not like too much. So be aware of that too. Okay, with that out of the way, I'm going to get out of your way. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you soon. Goodbye.